Hey everyone, welcome to a new episode of Superhero Deep Dive. I am your host Jason and I have a wonderful episode scheduled for you today. I am covering a female that has dominated the 90s and then just kind of dropped off. And I want to see if we can bring her back and see what we can do with that. So let me get into it. But before I do, I have to give all my normal disclaimers that make the world go round. So the information pulled is from various sources across the internet and may or may not be completely complete, but they do give a really good insight on the current hero. With that being said, if you guys have any questions, comments, critiques, requests for new episodes, fun facts you want to add in, please feel free to. You can catch me on Twitter, Instagram, and Twitch under Super Deep Dive and use the hashtag Superhero Deep Dive. You can also reach me at my email address, which is B4, so B4 it all at yahoo.com. And if you're watching on my YouTube channel, it is Superhero Deep Dive, and you can feel free to comment, like, subscribe, anything like that on the videos, and I will respond to them. Even if it's with a simple like on the comment, I will acknowledge everything that gets sent to me at the very least, but I do try to have conversations with the fans. So yeah, with that being said, I am going to get into Witchblade. Before I forget, I'm sorry. You can also listen to me wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. And also, if you are listening to me on Outworld Fleet Radio, you can as well. Or if you haven't, you can listen to me on Outworld Fleet Radio. I have shows going throughout the day every Tuesday and Thursday at various times throughout the day. And their website is www.un-conventional.com/radio. Okay. So let's get into Witchblade. She is awesome. And she dominated the 90s because at that time everything was really sexualized and her costume literally ripped her clothes off. So half of her pictures are either skin-tight form-fitting armor or clothes ripped off to where she's hardly wearing anything at all. So, it just worked. It just worked. What can you do, right? Her real name is Sarah Pizzini. And the Witchblade is actually a sentient gauntlet. Itself is the son of the darkness and Angelus. The Witchblade possesses humans, typically women, as hosts on Earth. Now, Sarah Pizzini was born in November 18th, 1970, and is of Italian descent. Her major enemies are Kenneth Irons, who she briefly dated before discovering his evil nature, and Ian Nottingham, which is a sometime love interest and ally. She had wanted nothing more in her life than to be a good cop, but as a homicide detective in New York City, life was challenging enough. But for Sarah, those were simpler times. While on an undercover case at the Rialto Theater, both she and her partner, Michael Yee, which there was a TV series, and that was named, the partner was named Danny Yu, but they're the same character. They were mortally wounded. At the same theater was a man named Kenneth Irons, who had brought a gauntlet known as the Witchblade. Irons was in search of the secrets to unlocking his full power and ability. So, there's already something nefarious afoot. Alright, so she gets mortally wounded. So as Sarah lay dying, the Witchblade made its choice to include her in the long line of women that she has shared his power with. The entity healed Sarah's wounds and allowed her to survive the resulting confrontation. Since then, she has seen many things she never knew existed, fought creatures that have no place on Earth, and longed for the days of a typical New York Police Department detective. But she continues her struggle with the Witchblade, believing that she can do more good with the entity than without. So the battle for control continues as Sarah learns more about this entity and struggles to stem its violent nature. So, yeah. What do you guys think so far? It's pretty pretty good, right? Like, to get this gauntlet that's basically trying to control her. And she is trying to keep her control and do good at the same time, which always turns out well. I don't know about you guys, but I have never seen an instance fail like this. All right. Let me get this in. All right. Sorry about that. All right. So some of the Witchblade's allies include the Magdalena, Lara Croft Tomb Raider, and Jackie Estacado, who is the Darkness. One crossover pitted her against Wolverine, and in the comics, Sarah has been through a grueling ordeal fighting off a giant demon who is actually a false god, summoned by a group of priests, and in the midst of which her partner, Jake McCarthy, was left wounded. Before losing consciousness, Jake professed his love for Sarah and told her that he always knew about her double life. He now remains in a coma, and Sarah has had to deal with the nosy new partner, Patrick Gleason, who has already discovered many of her secrets. Bum bum bum. Alright, Gleason saved her life, and it began to look like they may become more than just partners, but their sexual date was... I'm sorry, but their sexual date, like... this is... I guess that was pre-Netflix and chill, right? I don't know. But yeah, that happened, I guess. It was interrupted when Ian Nottingham abruptly returned to Sarah's life. After a minor crisis that led to the death of Sarah's good friend and loyal partner, Jake, Sarah discovered she was pregnant. Sarah was completely confounded, as should we all be, at how this occurred. Due primarily to the fact that she has not been with someone in over a year. Sarah, initially feeling she was not ready to be a mother, nevertheless decided to keep the baby, but decided as a result she could not keep the Witchblade as well. Sarah relinquished it to someone named Daniel Baptiste, who is a young woman who had recently met, who was its next chosen bearer. So, you know, the Witchblade kind of knew that this was coming and was like, okay, you know, if I'm going to be passed on to someone, I want to go to this person. So, when she was due to give birth, the father of her child was revealed. It was Jackie Estacado, who, possessed by the darkness itself, was driven to seek out and lay with Sarah Pizzini's comatose body. Oh, that took a weird turn. And with Jackie's baby used for the necessary biology, leading to the conception of their bebe. A child to upset the balance between the dark and light. Sarah gives birth to a baby girl, but is on the verge of death. Danielle then ends up sharing part of the Witchblade with Sarah, which saves Sarah's life. Hope, Sarah and Jackie's daughter, drives off the Angelus, and in the end, Sarah, now wielding half of the Witchblade, and her friends return to their lives. This pregnancy has caused an attraction between Jackie and Sarah that has manifested itself as romantic and even sexual. Because, you know, nothing says romance much like, I'm gonna do stuff to your comatose body while you can't give or not give consent. Good job. Good job, Top Cow. Good writing there. I guess it was different times, and it made for an interesting plot twist, but wow, that's a lot. That's just a lot to take in. I need a minute. I need a breather on that one, because that's just, like I said, it's just a lot. It's just a lot to take in. Alright. I think my breather's over. Later, a major conflict erupts between Sarah and Danielle, with Sarah under the control of the darkness portion of the Witchblade. During this time, Sarah became increasingly irrational, angry, and would often mistreat the people around her. However, she did display more increased control over the entity, demonstrating abilities usually associated with the darkness, which was like summoning dark-based objects, creating these little monsters called Darklings and stuff like that. Manipulated by an old enemy of the Curator, Sarah retook all of the Witchblade in a battle with Danielle. However, Sarah was saved when Danielle was chosen as the next Angelus host and cleansed her of the darkness's influence, restoring Sarah to her former self. Well, that's chipper. Okay, while Sarah attempts to redeem herself for her crimes under the darkness half of the Witchblade, an internal affairs agent named Phipps discovered the truth about the Witchblade through Jake McCarthy's diary. He confronted Sarah, demanding that she either resign as a detective or give up the Witchblade if she doesn't want to be exposed. Sarah chose the former. She then moves to Chicago, working as a private investigator. Sarah is strong, determined, and mature. One of her defining characteristics is her black and white view of the world and of people, something that many characters in the series have called her out on. So yeah. They're just gonna call someone out on stuff like that, I guess. I don't know. It's whatever. Alright. So her powers. As a police detective, Sarah has undergone basic training and remains in exceptional physical shape. She is likewise a skilled hand-to-hand combatant and markswoman, able to hold her own in a gunfight as well as against physical opponents noticeably larger and stronger than herself. Sarah has also showcased considerable skill as an investigative detective. She's usually adept at spotting small details and piecing together evidence. Since coming into contact with the mystical, she's had to hone her detective skills to compensate with varying degrees of success. As the host of the Witchblade, she is granted a vast array of supernatural abilities, such as forming various weapons like swords or other stabbing weapons, hooks, chains, shields, stuff like that. She can jump to heights higher than most humans could jump to, generate a full body armor in order to protect herself, increase her strength to abnormal levels that exceed 500 pounds, and should the situation arise, she can also form wings, which will allow her flight. She can shoot energy blasts from her gauntlet, fire projectile darts, and whip-like grapples to attack or to climb. The Witchblade is also an excellent lockpick and can heal wounds, even near fatal ones. The Witchblade can reanimate the dead, empathetically show the host scenes of great trauma, and allow the host to relive experiences from past hosts as dreams. That is pretty cool, because I believe one of the past hosts was Joan of Arc. Like, they actually put it into some of the great women of history, which is pretty cool. That was a fun fact that came a little early. The Witchblade is also known to be able to damage incorporeal beings, unlike ghosts and spirits, and is capable of slaying other dimensional entities and immortal deities. It is also able to control and manipulate the elements. The Witchblade can slow, stop, and even turn back time. So, as we know, Cher was also a holder of the Witchblade. She even made a song about it. If I could turn back time. I'm sorry, that was a bad joke, and I shouldn't have sang on my podcast. I apologize, I feel bad. But those are her powers. So she doesn't have a big history, even as popular as she was. She doesn't have, but she has a lot of power in this gauntlet, which is pretty cool. Some fun facts about her. She has been featured in crossover productions alongside the likes of the Magdalena Lara Croft, Jackie Estacado, and Wolverine. She also had a TNT live-action film and TV series of the same name, portrayed by Yancy Butler. And fun fact, stating that her mystical artifact was heavy on the hotness factor, Sarah Pizzini, as the original Witchblade, was ranked number 7 in Comic Buyer's Guide 100 Sexiest Women in Comics. So take that for what it is. But what do you guys think? This is who we have. This is the Witchblade. This is a character that literally I mean, when I say took the 90s by storm, you have no idea how popular she was in the comic community in the 90s. Like, it was insane. And I just don't think that the storytelling was all there to support the character, because the character was awesome. I don't think the storytelling, and I'll be honest, I didn't read a lot of the Witchblade. It just, I was more into the superhero element more so than the kind of supernatural, and it almost had like a kind of a horror theme to me. So I didn't really get into it as much. That and the fact that everything was so sexualized, I didn't necessarily want to be seen with the comic because I might come off as being kind of pervy. But, but yeah. So I want to know what you guys think so far. Like, let me know. Like I said, you can comment, like, subscribe, share. Help me grow my channel on YouTube. That would be great. It's under Superhero Deep Dive. If you want, catch me wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. You can also catch me on Instagram, Twitter, and maybe possibly Twitch under Super Deep Dive, and use the hashtag Superhero Deep Dive. And you can also send me an email directly at B4itall, so B4itall at yahoo.com. And yeah, let's get into the power expansion portion. Now, I'm sorry that this is not going as long as I normally do. There's just, like I said, it just wasn't written. It just doesn't seem like the character was written to be long term. Like, almost like the writers, and I'm not knocking the writers. I'm just saying that this is just how it seems from someone outside looking in. Years later, it looked like it was more of a kind of a niche series, and then they just let it be. Like, they tried to ride it out, but they didn't put a lot of long-term planning in it. I could be wrong, and I hope I am, but if I am, please correct me, because it's done with all humbleness. It's not done like as an insult. But power expansion. So, can Witchblade work today? I believe it can. Now, if we made a movie with the character and took out a lot of the sexuality, like, from everything I saw, we need to take out like 90% of the sexuality there. Like, because it was way over the top. The storyline could be amazing. It could even expand to other characters like the Darkness, the Angelus, and Magdalena. They've essentially got a shared universe and has a mystical and religious background to it, which could make for some awesome storytelling. Like, kind of like the Hellboy movies. Not the newest one, but like the original Hellboy and Hellboy 2. They were awesome, and they had this kind of like superhero quality, but they also had this mystical religious tie to it, which worked, because there's a whole lot that you can explore with that. So who would be the big bad guy? I don't know. I mean, I don't really get paid enough to know all that. It could be the Kenneth Irons character. Maybe it's the devil. Like, let's do something that we can actually have something almost like Avengers style, like Thanos, where you get a long reveal, like after a bunch of movies. Like, what if there are separate movies for Witchblade, Darkness, Angelus, and Magdalena? Which I don't know a lot of them. I might cover them in the future. But they all ultimately lead up to them, like, fighting each other, and then having to fight the devil or whatever equivalent bad they have. Like, from the way it sounds, the Darkness character could be kind of like the bad guy. Which would be a cool movie to have it from his perspective too. But he could be getting manipulated by, the devil or devil type equivalent character. And then then he ends up joining the people that he's fighting to fight against that. So, I mean, something like that, but that would then be 4 separate characters. And then, the movie where maybe it's the reveal, or and then maybe even, so that's 4 movies, maybe a 5th movie where it's the reveal, and then maybe a 6th movie where they're fighting the actual bad guy. So what if you could potentially get 6 movies out of this? That's crazy. And it's a shared universe. So everything can layer on top. The storytelling could be massive. What do you guys think? I'm just brainstorming here. But who would we get to play Witchblade? That's a good question too. I always thought that the character was modeled after Angelina Jolie, but she's not really a viable choice for the character now. She did a good job in Eternals, but she's obviously in a Marvel property now, so she can't do it. That, and I don't think for a period of 6 movies, having her be that character in that kind of like action scene type environment may not be the best. I could be wrong. But I just don't think she's a viable character right now, right? Or a viable choice. So who to cast? We need someone that can pull off like an Italian heritage, has a bit of toughness, with them being like a New York Police Department detective, and can do some action stuff. So what about Emilia Clarke? She was in Game of Thrones, right? So she's used to a lot of that stuff. She's got good acting chops. She can do this, but, with the fantasy aspect of the armor where it kind of folds and molds around her, I think she could do well with it. Because she's worked in that kind of fantasy, imagine type environment before. So it's not really, I don't think it would be too much of a stretch. I could be wrong. But she's also got a bit of an Italian heritage look to her, so the Pizzini name wouldn't go lacking. Right? Like maybe, possibly. It could work. But we have a problem. Right, we have a problem. She's already cast in the Secret Invasion movie by Marvel. And we can't have her crossing over like that, right? So where do we go from here? Did some digging, did some research. And I may have come up with a decent replacement. What about Alexandria Daddario? She can pull off Italian. She's got that brunette hair. She's got really, really kind of, I don't want to say sharp facial features, but strong facial features. Which can definitely play into the Italian heritage. She may need a little bit of a tan, but but she's got experience from the Percy Jackson movies, like with the action stuff. And from Baywatch, she's got a sense of humor about being sexualized. And let's face it, honestly, if you have Witchblade, there's probably going to be some sexualizing in it. There's probably it's gonna come with the territory. Like I said, we're even if we take a lot of it away, like regardless of how much sexuality we're taking away from it, there's probably gonna be some sexuality with it. I mean, it's part of the character. Unfortunately, it's just part of the character. We can definitely tone it down, but it is part of the character. So what do you guys think? Did I make a good casting choice? I think I did. I think she could work. What do you guys think? Let me know. Like I said, reach out to me on Twitter, Instagram, or Twitch. I'm never on Twitch, but I have to include it. It's under Super Deep Dive. Use the hashtag superherodeepdive. If you're watching on YouTube, thank you so much. Please help me grow the channel. Pretty please, with sugar on top. If I can get to 500 subscribers. If I can get to 500 subscribers, I will do a giveaway. So let's get the strive for 500. 500 subscribers. Help me get that first, plateau, and we can go from there. But yeah, what do you guys think? Do you have better casting choices? I kind of struggled on this one because I wanted someone that could fill in the blanks. But there's so many action properties out now that we have to be careful. So, what do you guys think? Let me know. I'm going to cut out for now. I will talk to you next week. Next week I have a request that came in for Thunderstrike. So we're going to do Thunderstrike, Thor's counterpart. It's going to be fun. I think this is where we're going to start getting into some more of the requests. I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think 6. The next 6 episodes are actually all going to be viewer requests. So, whether they're by YouTube comment or DMs from Instagram or Twitter or emails from me for me directly. But check it out. In the meantime, everyone be blessed. Everyone be safe. Everyone be happy. Everyone be smart. And if you're not smart, don't get caught. I will see you later. Bye-bye.